Okay, so get rolling. I always start these sessions with just a few quick slides that I think will help with your marketing in general, and then we'll get into any of the questions that you guys have. So I am Tim Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing. I am facilitating this workshop for SCORE, and I'm here to answer any marketing questions that you guys have. Now, ground rules, we are recording this. SCORE likes to get these recorded and use these as additional resources for other business owners. So just FYI on that. Everyone is muted just to keep things quiet. While I'm going through these, if you guys have questions immediately, just pop those down in the chat down at the bottom. You can click on chat, post your questions, and I'm going to jump into those as soon as I'm done with these slides here in just a moment. And I will do my best to get through everyone's questions, okay? So I think first off, we're talking about marketing. We need to make sure we're on the same page about what marketing actually is. I like to keep things as simple as humanly possible. Marketing is getting someone who has a need or a problem you can solve to know, like, and trust you. We all do business with people that we know, like, and trust. So the job of our marketing is to warm people up to the point where they are comfortable to then take the next step with our business, whatever that next step may be. Now, most people, I think, overcomplicate marketing. It is so easy to overcomplicate marketing these days. There are all kinds of different channels. There's so many different things going on. People are telling you, 1 week you need to do this with your marketing, and then the next you got something new. It is super, super confusing. But the thing is, marketing your business, it really shouldn't be a challenge, but you need some type of plan. When you have a plan, it eliminates confusion because you know exactly what you need to focus on based on where you are right now so that you don't get distracted. To me, marketing success, frankly, success in anything is all about the fundamentals. You have to have the fundamentals down first. Those fundamentals lay the foundation for you to build upon. I love this quote from Michael Jordan. He said, get the fundamentals down and the level of everything you do will rise. You got to have the marketing fundamentals down. I like to call the marketing fundamentals the marketing strategy trilogy. You have to know who your target market is. You have to know how you're going to communicate with them, right? Your messaging, what you say and how you say it. And then you have to have a system or a plan that you can follow. Okay, if you have those things in place, the tactical things you do from a marketing standpoint will be much, much more effective and consistent. These really are the main marketing channels. Okay, you've got strategy, your fundamentals, and then you got your website. Offline marketing, to me, offline is networking, it's direct mail, it's print advertising, the more what we would typically think of more as old school type marketing. Your content, what type of content are you creating? Your content marketing, search engine optimization, social media, email, and paid advertising online. Okay, most marketing tactics will fall into one of these 8 channels. Okay, you can build a very, very successful business. Frankly, you can build a very successful business focusing on only some of these. So don't feel like you have to do all of them. But if you're involved in a lot of these, your business is going to be really cooking, especially if you have the strategy, those fundamentals in place first. So I'm just going to cover this in the beginning and the end. If you want some additional marketing resources, at the end of the presentation, if you just go to this link, you can opt in and I will give you a ton of resources there. A lot of those resources are focused on the fundamentals. The recording of this will be in there. Past recordings of previous AMAs that I've done are in there as well. If you guys want that stuff, all you got to do is pop in there. And when you actually go to that page, this is what it'll look like. Just put your name, email, and get the resources, and you will get them. If you've been on these calls in the past and you have opted in already, just go to the same link. The link hasn't changed, okay? So if you guys want that, those are there, and I think they'll be super helpful for you. So we're going to jump into questions. Post them in chat. I've already seen some stuff popping in chat already, so I'm just going to pop in out of here and go in. So Yep. So first question that I had, and there's, yeah, will you get a copy of the recording? So, yep, just go to that page, opt in, and you'll have all of that recording right there. So if you guys are, please post any questions in chat. Right now, I don't have any direct questions. So pop them in there and I'll jump in and do my best to help you. Okay, first question I got is from Paul. Is there a door-to-door alternative during COVID? So let me just see here. Yep. So Paul's a solar sales rep. Main purpose is to generate leads. Eventually, I will get to close sales for more money. Yeah. Yeah, door to door. Yeah, door to door it's tough. Obviously, in this market, there's not a lot that you can do door to door. Yep, flyers, right? So you can't knock door to door, but you certainly can still do, door hangers, those types of thing. I think are still very, very effective. But a lot of people obviously are not going to be answering their door. Depending on what kind of budget you have from a marketing standpoint, you could potentially look at doing paid ads online to try and get in front of people in very specific areas. With Facebook ads especially, you can target people really granularly and go down to a lot of detail where you could try and get in front of people that way. But honestly, since you can't go door to door, I think your next best alternative is flyers, door hangers, and just dropping those things. So you're not going to have those face-to-face conversations, but obviously you can drop a lot of flyers, a lot of door hangers to blanket neighborhoods, and then see what kind of calls you get. What I will tell you is when you do that, you really need to focus and make sure that the messaging on your flyers and your door hangers is really good and it's strong. And what I would do is I would probably test. Okay, marketing to me is about testing things. Some of the things you do are going to work, some are not. So try different flyers. So what you can do there is what I would do is use specific flyers in set neighborhoods. And then what you can do is get an idea of, hey, how many responses am I getting in various neighborhoods to try and determine which of those messages is working best. And then you can just keep iterating that message to get it better and better and better to get better response rates. But if I were you as a 1099 salesperson that is supposed to go door to door, you can't do it. I would start with flyers and or door hangers first. Yeah, I had a question about somebody just joining. Is there a link to the presentation? So at the end here, I'm actually going to pop this in the chat. So I'm going to put the link in there. This link, just go to that link. You can sign in and you will get the presentation and all the recording and a number of other resources there. So the next question is from Kevin. How do you suggest getting started with marketing? This would be for a service business. Okay, no product to market. Business is in its infancy. Also the best way to market via social media, getting ads to people that are not in your existing network. So the first thing that I would say there is the best way to get started with marketing is to go back to those fundamentals. When you are just getting started and you haven't sold any customers, it can be really hard to try and hone in on who your ideal clients are, who your target market is, but you have to start from somewhere. So what I would recommend you do is do a little bit of research online to investigate your potential target market and who you think your ideal clients are going to be. You have to start somewhere, because if you try to reach everyone, it's just going to fall flat. So it's totally okay. Go on to forums, especially for your specific service. There are forums out there for all kinds of niches. Go into the forums, go into Facebook groups, do Google searches to gather as much information as you can about your target market, who your ideal clients are, the problems that they're having, what they want. They're currently in one place and they want to get to another. Where do they want to get to? What benefits do they want to see? And that's going to help you kind of determine what problem you can solve specifically and how you can uniquely solve that to differentiate yourself from your competitors. As you get into it and you start getting more experience, you may shift your market a little bit, and that's totally okay, but you have to start somewhere. So I would recommend focusing on 1 to 3 ideal client types and start there, because when you know who your ideal client types are, it's much easier to identify where are these people? Where are they online? Where are they offline? And what you really want to do is get to a place where you understand your target market better than they know themselves. And when you get to that point, then you can start to create messaging that is clear and engaging. And some of the resources that are in the link that you'll get when you sign up after the workshop is about messaging. We recommend a storytelling framework to create your messaging that works really, really well. It's super easy to understand, and it helps make sure that you're communicating a clear, engaging message consistently. And actually, one of the workshops that I do for SCORE is a messaging workshop. So I do right now, since we're all online, I'm doing a website workshop and then a messaging workshop. So if you have interest in those, just go to the SCORE Denver calendar and you can check those out and sign up. But once you know your target market, you got to have good messaging. And then from there, the first place that any business that's starting out right now, you gotta put your website together. Everything that you do is going to drive traffic back to your website. So your website, outside of getting the fundamentals in place, your website is the single most important marketing asset that you have. So I would start with that, and then you can start to build from there. As far as best way to market via social media is going to it takes time. Okay, it takes time to build an audience. And what I would do is start small, 1, 2 different social media channels that are going to make the most sense for you. Which channels make the most sense for you? Well, where's your target market? And take a look at what your competitors are doing. What channels are they on and what channels are they having success with? Where are they getting good engagement? People commenting, people sharing. Those are good places to start. And then you need to post consistently on social media, and not just post. If you really want to build a following, you have to get social. You can't just post and hope that people are going to start following you. It doesn't work that way. So you got to get social. You got to interact with people, reshare content, comment on other people's posts. Those types of things are going to help you slowly start to build your social media following. But that's what I would start with. And then getting ads to people that are not in your existing network. Google ads is one way. If you're targeting people via Google ads, you can target very high buying intent keywords, so people that are more ready to buy. So typically, if you do Google ads, you're going to convert more people quickly. With Facebook and social ads, we aren't going there to buy per se. So they're much more top of what we call top of the funnel. So they're not at that buy phase. They're more at the top of the customer journey, where they may just be looking for things. So when people are advertising on social, a lot of the time they're advertising, free checklists, cheat sheets. They may be advertising like webinars, or master classes where they can teach somebody and build that rapport and then start to close sales. If you don't have good targeting, like a good warm audience to target with Facebook, one of the things that I always recommend people do is, and this goes back to understanding your target market, what types of people, influencers, groups do your target market follow. And if you know that with your Facebook advertising, you can target cold traffic, people that don't know about you, based on them following, let's say my target market is people that like Tony Robbins. I could target Tony Robbins followers, and that is a great way to start to build a warmer audience on social media that you can advertise to. Next question is from Sanjay, and I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name there. What platforms for ads are good for B2B clients? So I'm asking this in particular about visual storytelling, business, brand, video productions. Okay, so B2B, again, I think it does depend somewhat on who your B2B clients are, but in general, I mean, look, almost everybody is on Facebook at this point, so I think you'd have a hard time going wrong on Facebook. But in B2B, LinkedIn is huge, very, very targeted. The thing with LinkedIn ads, though, is LinkedIn ads can get very expensive very quickly, but you can target very granularly on LinkedIn. They have so many different parameters based on, industry, job title, company size. There's all kinds of things you can target on. So you can really hone in and make sure that your ads are showing to your ideal prospects. So if I were you, from a paid ad standpoint, I would look at LinkedIn and I would look at Facebook. Those would be the first places I would start. Okay, another question from Paul. My company expects, to knock, just carry hand sanitizer and a mask. I will use different flyers for different neighborhoods. To dial things down. Yep. So, I mean, so we're coming back to the kind of the door knocking thing. Paul, I would keep an eye on that. Because your company is expecting you to knock. Here's the one thing that I think could potentially backfire, and I would just keep this in mind. There may be a lot of people right now that are not good. A lot of people don't appreciate door knocking to begin with, let alone during a pandemic. So the people that you do actually end up talking to may actually not respond very well to the fact that a company is having you do that right now. So I would just kind of keep an eye on that and pass that feedback on to the folks that are running your business. So that could potentially backfire. So keep an eye on that. Okay, next question I've got is from Sarah. So my target market uses mostly Facebook. I'm also on Instagram and Pinterest. I'm new to creating engaging curated posts as well as my own. Yes. So the messaging workshop is not necessarily it will help with some of your posts. It really helps more with your overall message and what you say to potential prospects to get them interested in what you do and really get them to understand how you help them avoid, failure. What does failure look like? And then what does success look like? From a social posting standpoint, I like to recommend a variety of posts. So you certainly don't want to sell all the time on social media. I think it's okay to sell in your social posts, but you shouldn't be posting stuff that's selling 50% of the time, right? I think that's a little bit much. I think it's okay if you've got sales posts, you're posting your own content. Okay, so blog posts or videos that you're creating. Curated content, for those of you that don't know, curated content is basically just content that somebody else has produced that you are sharing out. So, at Rialto, we share all kinds of marketing content from other marketing providers all the time. It's good information that's helpful to our target market. And, some people say, well, gosh, why do you want to steer people to your competitors? I just look at it from a mindset of abundance. If you can add value to people, they appreciate that. And if we're a good fit, great. But we're not a good fit to everybody. So I wouldn't be worried about it. Just post good, valuable content when you post curated content. And then the other type of content that you're going to post is culture posts, or, those posts that humanize your business. Hey, Jean in our office just had a baby, and there's a picture of Jean with her baby. Or, you got your team donated time for a local nonprofit. Let them know that you are human. It helps people understand, hey, there's a face, there's faces behind just this company name. Those types of posts actually tend to get a lot more engagement than most of the other types of posts that you'll put up. But so those are typically the 4 types of posts that I categorize for social. And I start out just saying, hey, 25%, 25%, 25, 25. Okay. And then you can obviously tweak it from there. But if you kind of start and look at it with those 4 a quarter of the time, and then as you get experience, you can kind of play with it and tweak it a little bit more. But that's a good mix from a social posting standpoint. So Sanjay says, do you work with small businesses? Yes, my company works with small businesses and entrepreneurs, primarily with service-based businesses, so home service businesses, professional services, coaches, consultants, attorneys, CPAs, insurance brokers, those types of people. But to me, the marketing fundamentals are the same no matter what business you're doing. It really doesn't matter. Possible costs involved in marketing. It really just depends. We work with companies that are spending $100 a month, and we work with companies that are spending $5,000 a month. So, it's really a matter of where you're at, and then we'll make recommendations based on where you are and your budget. No matter where you're at, you can always find something to invest in that's going to give you a decent return. It's just a matter of looking at what resources you have. So I hope that helps. And then Khalid says, I have a physical product that is currently in development, prototyping, and market research for proof of concept. What's the best way to gauge demand for a product or desirability before actually manufacturing? Yeah, this is a really good question. Are there marketing tools that are best for this? So if I were you, I would go online. And again, this comes back to your target market. So think about your product. What types of people are going to be most likely to want your product? Go where they are online. They're going to be in groups of some kind, social media groups. They may be in forums online, and just post questions in there. Hey, I'm in the early stages. This is what we're thinking about doing. Is this something that you would be interested in? You could also find people and reach out to people directly. So like if you're in the B2B space, it could be just cold outreach to people to see if they'll talk to you on the phone real quick. You're going to have to reach out to a lot of people to get a certain number of people on the phone. But if you can get people on the phone as well to just talk about the product and get their feedback, that will be really, really helpful as well. But you could do a lot of market research before you start investing a ton upfront online in Forbes. Reddit is another online. Reddit's, it's kind of a cross between social media and forums, but there are a lot of different groups. They call them subreddits on Reddit, where you could go into some of those and ask questions as well. So that's where I would start. And I hope that helps. So Sanjay is asking, how can we contact you if we need help? I'm just going to put that here. You can go to rialtomarketing.com, and my email is going right in the chat. Okay, so then Bjorn, generally speaking, how far out do you have content calendars planned? So This is going to vary depending on your business, but I would tell you right now, like our content calendar for right now is planned out about 6 months. That's content calendar for our blog. We are also doing Facebook Live videos that we then repurpose into podcasts and additional blog posts. Those are booked out about 3 months. So, it also depends on how frequently you're posting, so we're doing stuff a couple times a week, and so when you're doing stuff that frequently, I think having a little bit longer runway is helpful. What I will tell you is I think it's also nice to have some flexibility within your calendar. So if you got to have a calendar because you got to know what you're planning. And I think it's good to have when you have a calendar, it helps you. So like for all of our blog posts, we have a plan to create a larger, more comprehensive asset from it. So like if you go to our website under the resources section, you'll see some guides that we've put together. Those guides are all a compilation of various blog posts that we've put together. So I think it's really good to have an end goal in mind with your content, because you can take content that you've created and repurpose it into larger, more comprehensive assets down the road. But I would say in general, 3 to 6 months is a pretty good time frame, but have some flexibility if you need to tweak things, right? So this year is a perfect example. January, you may have had 6 months planned out. Well, COVID and this pandemic hit, and you may need or want to shift some of the content that you're creating. And so having some flexibility there in that, I think is good. So I hope that helps. And then Steve's asking, how important do you think Facebook and Instagram are to online marketing? He's got a couple questions. The first thing I would say there is, if your target market is there, then I think they're pretty important. The one thing that I would say about social media, especially for a lot of small businesses, it takes time to build a following. And so initially, when you're just getting started on social, I look at it more as laying ground cover, for lack of a better term, so that when somebody goes to your website, they like what they see. The next place they're logically, or a lot of people are going to go is, okay, cool, I like their website. What are they doing on their social pages? What you don't want to have happen is, one, you have no social and they go to your competitors, and your competitor has a great website and they're active on all these social channels and they're doing a great job there. That doesn't make you look good. So we want to make sure that when they go to your website, they like it, they click on your Facebook page, that your last post was not 6 months ago. That makes them wonder, right? So in the beginning, I think it's more just making sure that you have consistent activity on your social media pages. And then as you get into that rhythm of consistency, then you can start to build more of a following as you get more social, sharing people's content, commenting, mentioning different other people online. That's going to help you start to build over time. So I think being on at least one social channel at this point to start is pretty important. But if you don't have the resources to do it initially, then don't fret about it. Do what you can do, right? Do the best you can with the resources that you have. How often do you recommend posting to each platform? Again, this is really going to depend on the resources that you have, whether that's time resources or money resources. Because if you have money, you can pay somebody else to do it. If you don't, then it's your time involved in that. But on the various channels, I think posting a couple times a week minimum is a good place to start. And then you can build from there. There are a lot of tools out there that will help you from a social posting standpoint. Buffer is one. And I'm going to put these in the chat. So Buffer, Hootsuite, the one that we use is called Promo Republic. Those are all tools that will help you schedule out your social posts so that if you want to say, hey, I want to post 2 curated posts a week, I can go into Buffer or Hootsuite or Promo Republic, schedule them out for a while, right? So if you want to do this once a month or once every couple months and schedule those things out, you can. That makes posting a lot easier. But it doesn't get around the fact that you can't post or you can't schedule the human side of it, the interaction side of it. Somebody has to actually do that interaction side. But from a posting standpoint, you can make that a little bit easier with some of the tools that are out there. Okay. Then we just started with Instagram. We're getting a lot of customers following us and we want to increase our reach, but not sure what's the best platform or technique. I'm very, ignorant with social. There's a lot going on with social too. So yeah, Instagram is popular. There are a lot of people gaining traction on Instagram. So if you're getting traction there, I think that's really, really good. One of the ways that you can potentially start to get even more traction on Instagram is starting outreach to other influencers, what a lot of people call like micro influencers, people that have smaller audiences. Certainly, I mean, you could reach out to somebody that has 1 million followers, but in the beginning, that's probably going to be a little difficult. I would look at some of those people that have, 5, 10, 15,000 followers who might be able to do promoted posts or, co-branded stuff to help increase your following. I think that's a really good place to start with Instagram. Next question here I've got is, what is the best strategy for identifying a target market for a pre-sale campaign? So this is business to consumer, selling a product, not a service. So, again, this is really, I touched on this before. If you have previous clients, I think is the best place to start. If you have previous clients, what you can do is you can look at those clients that are your most profitable, that you love working with, that refer you business. If you can identify those people and then start to dig into that group of people and look at, what commonalities, what characteristics do they have? What problem did they have? How did you uniquely solve it? That's a good place to start. But if it's new, I touched on this before. I think the best thing you can do is start to do some online research to try and pull out some data that is going to help you. And then if you can get some of those people on the phone, that's another good place to start. Oh yeah. Okay. So Bjorn is messaging Khalid here, just saying, check out the Back in Stock app on Shopify. You can use it to gauge interest if you have a website built. There you go. Then we've got, how do I find someone to create content for social media? Honestly, we are a dime a dozen. Okay. My company does it. Most marketing companies that are involved in social media can help you do that. There are some companies out there that will, that'll do this for $100 a month for a certain number of posts. I think you're going to get what you pay for. So the quality of what they're creating is going to fluctuate widely. So I think having a good understanding of what you want to accomplish, the types of stuff that you want to post, and making sure that whoever's doing that for you has a good understanding of what your needs are so that they can help you accomplish your goals, I think is really, really important. But there are social media specific marketing companies. There are marketing companies more like mine that handle all of it under one roof. But the help is out there. It's really just a matter of what's your budget? What are you hoping to accomplish? And then they can help guide you as to, hey, this is what we can do based on your needs and your budget. So I hope that's helpful. Next question here is there a numbers threshold for social proof as far as following? Instagram press for 10K, yeah, for the swipe up feature. Do different numbers make different impressions? You know, I'm going to tell you, my opinion of social numbers is that they are vanity metrics. Yes, as you mentioned, with Instagram, in order to get the swipe up feature, you got to have 10,000 followers minimum to make that happen. But, you know, there are people that are absolutely killing it that have 500 followers on Facebook. And there are people that have 10,000 followers that aren't doing jack. So to me, I would recommend not getting caught up too much in the, I've got this many followers. What I think is more important is how engaged your followers are. So I would much rather have 1,000 true fans than 100,000 people that might be interested once a year. So that's what I would work on, that more than I would the total number. You know, because there are people that, you know, paid for like ads for years to build up a following, but a lot of those people are not good followers, and they really don't do anything to help those people do more business. Okay, yeah. Bjorn was mentioned. Planoly and is his favorite for Instagram and Pinterest. So there's another tool for you guys to check out. Sarah's asking a question. My company is product related that raises money for environmental causes. One tactic I use is trending topics to help boost my posts. So, okay, yep. So use Google Trends to help with this. Are there other sources I can use? Yep, to give trending insights. So the other thing that you might be able to look at, BuzzSumo, if you've ever heard of that, is another tool. BuzzSumo, I'm putting that in the chat. BuzzSumo is a tool that you can use to type in different topics and then look at what articles and topics are trending, where they're being shared, how many shares they have. So that's another really good tool where you may be able to gather some additional information about what's being shared online right now. Yeah, useful hashtags for website. I mean, for hashtag wise, I mean, you can certainly do hashtag searches on a lot of the social channels just to see what's trending, what's being shared. So that's another good tool. But yeah, I think using Google Trends is a great way to do it. BuzzSumo will also help tremendously with that. Okay, so there's a follow-up from the previous question. You want to confirm that your target market is in certain groups on social media, Facebook in particular. So I'm not sure I follow that question. Here's what I'm going to do. Just reach out to me directly afterwards, and I'll do what I can to try and help you there, because I'm not quite following that question at this point. Derek says, where's the best place to learn more about digital marketing? Is there an online course that you recommend? Yeah, this is a really good question, Derek. There is so much information out there online. I think sometimes it's difficult to know whether the information you're reading is good. If you are interested in paying for classes, Digital Marketer is a great place to start. They have a ton of resources online as well. But then I think also looking at, it depends on where you're looking from a digital perspective too. There are a lot of tools out there, software providers that are putting out a lot of really good information. So I'm gonna put these in Ahrefs, SEMrush, from a local standpoint, Bright Local. Neil Patel, if you follow Neil Patel, he puts out a lot of really good information. That's where I'd start. That certainly is not an exhaustive list. There is so much information out there, but that's a good place to start. My favorite marketing books. So this is a broad question. So it really depends on what you want to learn, but the storytelling framework that we use is based off of a company called StoryBrand. The guy who started that, his name is Donald Miller. He wrote a book on the StoryBrand framework. That is an awesome book if you want to dial in your messaging. Okay, I would highly, highly recommend that book. I can't remember the name of it off. Hold on, I'll tell you exactly. Yeah, it's Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. I would highly recommend that book. And then from there, what I would really recommend is, if you're interested in learning more about specific tactics, hone in on, do search at Amazon. I mean, there's so many things on there. What I would highly recommend you look at is just how many reviews do they have and what types of reviews are you seeing for those particular books online. But the best marketing book that I've read in a while is that book from Donald Miller. Yeah, so Kevin's asking about what system and plan include. I use those two terms kind of interchangeably. They are somewhat different, but when I'm talking about a plan as part of your marketing strategy trilogy, what I am looking at is I like to look at marketing plans for 90 days. So I think things are changing so quickly in the market right now. Spending money, when people spend thousands of dollars on a 15, 20, 30 page marketing plan, it goes into a drawer and they never use it. So I do not recommend doing that. What I would recommend you do with your plan is have 6 simple steps in there. And at the end of 90 days, you just wash, rinse, and repeat. And the plan helps you focus, because if it's not on your plan for the next 90 days, then write it down if you have an interest in it, but it gets pushed to the side. So, and one of the tools that is in the resources on the link that I gave you is the plan template that we use. But there's 6 steps in this plan. So I'll run through them real quick. You got your target market. So just summaries of who your ideal clients are. What's your marketing goal? What's your marketing budget and resources? So what staff resources do you have and how much money do you have to invest? What are you currently doing from a marketing perspective? So, and actually, let me see here, guys. Hold on a sec. I'm going to share my screen here real quick because I think this will make a lot more sense. So this is a very simple template. So target market, what's your goal? Budget, resources, current marketing plan. We look at these main channels, the channels that I touched on in the slide deck in the beginning. Strategy, your website, content, social, email, paid advertising, and offline. You may not have a current marketing plan. Totally okay. All I want you to write down in here is, are you doing anything in any of those channels, and what are you doing? All we're doing in this current marketing plan section is trying to identify where we're currently at, because you can't figure out what you need to do to get to where you want to be until you know where you're at. It's no different than a GPS. It can't tell you how to get to DIA until it knows where you currently are. Then for the next 90 days, you're going to outline what you're going to do in those channels over the next 90 days. Depending on money and resources you have, you may only focus on one or two of these channels. That's totally okay. But this gives you the focus so you know, look, for the next 90 days, this is exactly what I'm going to focus on. And then your metrics. What metrics are we going to track? Don't overthink this. One or two metrics in each channel you're going to focus on, I think, is more than enough, just to help give you an idea of, hey, is what I'm doing helping me create momentum and getting traction? And then how close did I get to that goal? At the end of the 90 days, you look at it, what worked, what didn't, make your adjustments, and then move on to the next 90 days. So I hope that helps. Next question. Used Experian data to identify target market. Yep, it's free online. Anyone needs to identify their ideal target. The other thing you can also think of, and thank you for bringing this up, Khalid, you can also go to your local libraries. A lot of the local libraries talk to one of the librarians, and I can't remember what they call them. I think they might call them research librarians. They can also help you dig into some of the research tools that they have to help you do target market research as well, if you want to do that. So if you really want to dig deeper, Experian data, info, I think Info USA is the database that a lot of the libraries use, but reach out to the your local library too. That will help a lot. Yep. Yeah. So Bjorn's bringing up Donald Miller's new book. Yeah. Delayed the release. Yeah. Yeah. So he outlines the step of StoryBrand. He gave you guys a link in here. Yeah. So Derek asked, do you have a simple marketing plan template? So I just reviewed that. That is in the link for the resources if you sign up on that link that I gave you guys. Yep, Sarah's adding in that she's used the library as well for research. Yeah, can I reshare the link? So I'll pop that in here again. It's just our website, rialtomarketing.com/AMA. Yep, Sarah's saying media kits and magazines are helpful too. So you could also do that. And any other questions? I'm caught up to questions. Holy cow. So any other questions? Fire away here. Yep. Okay. So Derek's asking, should we be looking at a % of revenue to build our marketing budget? This is really going to vary. I never tell somebody, hey, you should absolutely spend this amount, because I think some of it really does depend on what you're selling and what how profitable it is. Some things are a heck of a lot more profitable than others. And if you're selling products that are a lot more profitable, you can afford to invest more as a percentage of revenue. But if you're looking for a number, the numbers I typically hear other marketers talk about is 5 to 10% of your revenue as your marketing budget. So take that as a general guide, but then please feel free to adjust it based on, where you're at and, profitability as well. Because you're certainly not going to be able to invest nearly as much if you're selling really low profit margin services or products. I'm open for questions if you guys still have any more follow-ups. Okay, Bjorn's asking, what do you think the most lucrative social media platform to invest advertising dollars is? Again, this is going to depend on your target market and where they're at, but Facebook and Instagram, I would say, are tops for most businesses. Yeah. So Yeah, Kevin. Yep, no problem, Kevin. Happy to help. So, Sarah, yes, if yeah, if I was in your shoes, what question would I ask? I think you guys are asking. You guys have all asked very, very good questions. If I was just starting out, my best recommendation to you, I already touched on this. Do not skip the fundamentals. If you skip understanding your target market, having good messaging, and then having a plan that you're going to follow, you are going to waste marketing dollars. Um, Inevitably, when we talk to people that are having problems, it almost always gets traced back to a fundamental problem. When you fix the fundamental problem, then the stuff that they're doing starts to work. So do not skip that. And outside of that, your website is the single most important marketing asset you have. So don't overlook it. Make sure that it's good. You don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to have a great website, but once you got a good website, then build from there. Yep. So Sanjay says, like to set up a meeting phone call. Sanjay, if you go to our website, rialtomarketing.com, at the top, there's a get a free consultation button. Just click that button and you can schedule a consultation. Okay. Then Steve's asking B2B, do you think Facebook paid ads would be a good idea? Yes, it absolutely can, as long as you make sure that you're targeting the right people. So with any type of paid advertising, it is all about the targeting. If you don't have good targeting, you're going to waste money because you're going to put ads in front of people that aren't ideal clients. So again, just starting out, I would look at, if you don't already have, with Facebook advertising, you can put the Facebook pixel on your website. The Facebook pixel will track visits to your website, and then you can retarget those people. If you haven't already done that, I would highly recommend you do that. But the other thing that I would do, if you're just starting out and you have to advertise to cold traffic, so people that aren't aware of your business, I would identify large influencers, or I shouldn't even say large, just good influencers that have an audience on Facebook that already have your ideal clients in your target market. That's the best place to start. Torrance is asking, how do we strategically get the employees on within our company to carry and embody the message we are trying to market? Yeah, so this is a really good question, and it comes into company culture. But I think you have to. One of my mentors talks about relentlessly just beating the drum, just slowly beating that drum over and over again. So when you have messaging that when you create new messaging, the first place you need to introduce it and get buy-in is from your team. Because if your team doesn't buy into it, they're never going to use it. And so you've just got to introduce it, and then you have to just constantly reinforce it over and over and over again. So, in staff meetings, that type of stuff, in your communications to staff. I also think that, just auditing what you expect is actually happening is really important too. But just it's gonna be a repetitive thing that you just have to say and talk about over and over again. Derek, can you do the same kind of targeting like Facebook with Twitter? Some, not all. I will be honest with you, Derek. I'm not super involved with Twitter advertising. I know you can do some targeting, but it's not nearly as in depth as what it is in Facebook. Facebook advertising is, the targeting that you can do there it's off the charts. There really isn't a whole lot that compares quite like like that. But if you're thinking about advertising in other social channels outside of Facebook or Instagram, YouTube is another really popular one that a lot of people are doing as well. Because with YouTube, you can put your video ads in front of people that are watching specific types of content, which is a good way to target potential ideal clients. If I were you, what I would recommend is just jumping in and playing with it a little bit to see if you can target the types of folks that you want to target. Sometimes it can be, sometimes you can find gems by going into other advertising platforms that aren't quite as popular. Facebook is so popular at this point. So I hope that helps, Derek, but it's not nearly as in-depth with Twitter as it is with Facebook. Okay, let's see. If you guys have any other questions, we've got about 4 minutes left. I'm happy to do a few more. Yeah, has the recent boycotts of Facebook affected its effectiveness? I don't believe so. I think as a business, you need to decide whether advertising on Facebook is going to have a negative impact on your brand overall. There are still tons of people advertising on Facebook. So, that's only a decision that you as a business owner can make. My opinion is, I would keep doing it. I don't think to me, it's not as much of an issue, but you got large brands that are boycotting. Frankly, if they boycott long enough, the costs on Facebook ads could start to go down because they're losing revenue because people aren't doing it. So I would just keep an eye on it. Because I think there are certain, some of the larger brands that are boycotting, it really is an image thing for their brand. And, that's why they're making those choices. For smaller businesses, I don't know if that is as big of a deal. But you got to make that decision for your business and your brand. Derek, the recording will be in the link. So go to the rialtomarketing.com/AMA link, sign in there, and you'll get an email with the link to the resources, and all the AMA recordings are in there. So this one and previous ones that I've done will be in there as well. Missed the opening part of fundamentals. Can you recap? So to marketing fundamentals, target market, your messaging, so what you say and how you say it, and then having a plan that you can follow. Those are the three. So I call it the marketing strategy trilogy. For a new product with a wide target market, should we hire a consultant up front or invest those dollars directly into ads? I would say it depends on what kind of consultant you hire. If you hire a good consultant, it will be well worth the money. If you hire a consultant that is not that great, then it could end up being a waste of money. One of the things you could do is invest initially into ads to try and gather some information and then go back to a consultant when you have a little bit more information to work with. So that is one way to think about that, Nate. I would just be careful because you can waste a lot of money on ads. So if you're going to put out money on ads initially, put that money out, but have a set budget and test and make sure that you're gathering really valuable data that you can then make good decisions from moving forward as to what you need to do. Because I think if you cast if you go really wide with your target market initially, I mean, that can be okay, but my guess is you're going to have to narrow it at some point, because not everybody in that wide target market is going to be a great customer for you. Okay, so there's some other books here. Start with Why by Simon Sinek. Developing the Leader Within You by John C. Maxwell is other good books to read. Absolutely. There are so many good books out there, guys. It's just, not only that, there's a lot of great podcasts out there. If you don't listen to podcasts, if you like audio content, there are so many good podcasts. There's tons of great information out there that is totally free for you to take advantage of. Somebody's posting here saying, hey, we've tracked where our clients find us and we hardly have anyone finding us on Facebook. And you know what? If that's the case, then, it may not be a great channel for you. But on the flip side, they may not be finding you on Facebook because you don't have a great presence there either. So just because they're not finding you there right now doesn't necessarily mean that they're not finding your competitors there. So just keep that in mind. People saying thank you. I'm happy to help, and I appreciate you guys being on as well. Okay, then we've got product currently developing and testing. Early on, we paid a marketing company for good product name. How important is having a great product name and marketing successfully? This is just my opinion, but I think they can be overrated. Just like, how much time do we all spend naming our business? I think we can get into the weeds on this stuff. I think it has to make sense to people, but I think it can be overrated. But I think it also depends on what you're selling too. So like online courses, I think having a good name for online courses that's very descriptive of what it is or the results you're going to get is really important. It depends on the product, right? But think about, Google. What the hell did Google mean to any of us? What did Amazon mean to any of us? The name was somewhat insignificant. But if we're selling a specific product or a service, right? I've got a marketing company. I think having marketing or media, something that is descriptive of what we do, can be important. But you know what? It's not absolutely necessary. Khalid, I think it depends on the type of product that you're selling, as to whether that was a good investment or not. Any suggestion for podcast for social media? Social Media Examiner is a really popular one. That's a good place to start. I don't listen to a lot of social media specific podcasts. So I don't have a lot other than that, but Social Media Examiner would be a great place to start. The other thing that you can also do, I believe Buffer and Hootsuite both produce podcasts. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they do. Those would also be good social media podcasts to start with. Cool. Guys, other than that, it is 11:03, so I'm going to jump out. I know you guys have things to do. I do as well. But thank you so much for taking the time. If you want the resources, go to the link. Keep an eye on the score calendar. I do these AMAs every month. And then I also do either website or messaging workshop each month. So feel free to take advantage, reach out. You can also go to our website, get a free consultation if you want. Be happy to talk to you. So hope you guys got a ton of value, and have a great rest of the week. Take care.